This podcast is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com.
You remember.
Roll your stealth roll?
Game books, pencils, pizza, cheese puffs, and a hell of a lot of dice.
And the Dragon Ball Cup.
Roll for Initiative. This is the Roll for Initiative podcast, where 1E is the place to be.
Welcome back to the Roll for Initiative podcast. We are Volume 6, Issue 177. I'm Vince, sitting alongside Nick.
Hello, everyone.
And Matt.
Hello, everybody.
And we're back for another show. Like I said, we got a module we're going to review this week, an OSR-compatible module. But first, it's been a little while since we've done a show. We're going to find out what everybody's been up to. I know it's we want to hear what Nick's campaigns are doing because Nick always has something exciting going on. Nick?
Well, thank you. It's gotten exciting and very interesting.
Excited too, huh?
Yes. So, past couple of game sessions, my youngest daughter, Phoenix, a.k.a. Anna, but she likes to go by Phoenix. Anyway, okay. She's been helping me co-DM the game, which has been really fun. Mostly been covering some of the NPCs. You know, because as everybody knows, being a DM, you are pretty much the game world. And you have to act out everybody in the game world, which could be rather challenging, particularly if they're of a different gender. Phoenix being a very good actor in her own right, and it's like if you could do some of these other NPCs, and this would work out great, and having a great job of doing that. Last game session, it became very interesting because my friend Jeff, his character, who is a barbarian, but his character has been meeting with a taxidermist in the city of Greyhawk, and this taxidermist has a wife and a daughter, and Jeff's character has been kind of trying to woo the daughter a little bit. Try to, become his companion. Okay, right. Every time they meet, because every time he brings the taxidermist something to stuff and mount, like he made a goblin into a scabbard, which was rather interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, so he has a goblin scabbard. Very interesting and rather funny because goblins fall for it. He pokes the goblin scabbard around corners and stuff. Sort of like a little stick puppet. Anyway, so he went to see this taxidermist again, and this time basically to come according to the taxidermist's daughter. And so I said to Phoenix, you play the taxidermist's wife and the daughter. And basically kind of played it up like they're somewhat like Eastern European accents and everything. They talk like this. Hey, welcome. Come. Oh, yes. Yeah. So Jeff's character, there was this really nice restaurant in the city of Greyhawk. He got it all set up. He was going to take the family out to dinner. He bought her a ring and everything, blah, blah, blah. Takes her to the family to the restaurant. And formally asking, I said, "Okay, you're gonna have to act this out." So I put him on the spot, gets on the one knee and everything. Really, really funny. Okay, and this is where everything kind of got turned on its head. I did not see this coming. So Phoenix is acting. Oh, I don't know what to say, but I can't. I mean, what do you mean you can't? And she's like, I am seeing another. And I'm thinking to my house, what? Where'd that come up from? So I acted like the father. What do you mean? You're seeing that other one. Oh, he's terrible. Huh. So kind of turned it all on its head there. And it was, oh my God, it was hilarious. So they got in a big argument, and so now I kind of turned it around and said, okay, since you say you don't know this boy, referring to the barbarian. Well, you must go with him next time you go to Castle Greyhawk. You learn how he is. She's like, okay, I don't want to, but no, that's how we do. Because he made like a blood oath with the father. It's like, we see with blood, everything, blah, blah, blah. And so now I had to come up with NPC stats for the daughter. Now, I think she's going to be a bard. I think that's might how it play out, but it was really, really funny. Oh my God, so much fun! People are it laughs all around. And this proves to you, from time to time, some of the best gaming sessions are somewhere you don't even sling dice. It's just all the interaction. That was so much fun.
Cool.
Yeah, it was great.
What about you, Matt?
Well, I'm about to start up my Ravenloft campaign once again. Mm-hmm. We took a little break from it, played a bunch of board games, had our little weekend getaway for our board gaming extravaganza, and now we're back to some hardcore RPGing. And when we last seen them, they were actually dealing with Adam, the Frankenstein-inspired lord, and they managed to defeat him, escape that realm, and now they're actually heading into the mainland of Ravenloft. They're no longer dealing in those little outer, like, islands of dread and some of the smaller, weaker domains. They're now going to the big ones. So I think I'm actually going to send them through around the Bleak House and all of that right now, and then slowly work their way into main Barboria and get to meet Strahd.
Oh, jeez.
Yes. And
is this the Greyhawk campaign with the kids as player characters?
No, this is the campaign where they have two NPC kids. They have a 4-year-old and a 10-year-old they've been stuck with because when they went to the one village with all the puppets where all the adults were murdered by the puppets.
Yes.
They had taken 2 of the kids, brought them back to their ship to just figure out what was going on in the city, and then all the stuff went down in the city, and they went to escape the domain and forgot the kids were on the ship.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling us about that now.
So since then, they've been stuck adventuring while also being parents.
Mm-hmm.
The one dwarven thief in the party is actually taking the oldest girl, the 10-year-old, and training her to be a thief.
So, like being the surrogate father?
Yes.
That's great.
So, and then the 4-year-old's taken to him as well because he's short and cuddly.
Oh.
So he's kind of like the adopted older brother figure.
You know what that sets up for?
Oh, yeah.
A tragedy.
Yeah. Oh, I already know. Hey, Strahd is looking for his long-lost love. I'm just saying. And then all of a sudden, this girl shows up, and we just get really creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm kind of maybe leaning towards that.
I was just thinking also something you add along the way.
Yeah.
You got kids. A carnival.
Oh, yes. A creepy Ravenloft carnival.
Yes.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
Evil clowns and everything.
Yeah. I'm also contemplating, since the oldest has been getting all that thieving training, maybe actually letting her have that level of thief, unbeknownst to the party.
That'd be cool.
So, and all of a sudden she starts pulling out moves the dwarf's been training her for like months on, and does a few things. So
that'd be cool.
Yeah, so there's a few ways I can take it. But, yeah, so if you want to add something new to your campaigns, have your players also have to be parents.
Well, that emotional attachment, because if something bad goes awry, it definitely makes for a tense role-playing session.
Yes, especially, though, there's 2 players in the group that have already failing power checks. One of them's failed like 3. So they're kind of going towards the dark side. And they're also the ones that kind of want to get rid of the kids. They wanted to dump the kids off at Castle Amber. Yeah, I mean, they just want to get rid of these kids. So they want to, like every domain they go to, they try to find someone that were willing to just take in these kids and just leave them. Whereas the other dwarf and the cleric are like, no, let's keep them and make sure they're taken care of because none of these lands are safe. So
there might be some inter-party conflict.
Oh, there already is. One of the players decided for one of his failed power checks, they were in a manor that had the madness fleas, where you get bit by them, you go nuts.
Madness fleas?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were in there, and they thought these were just mentally... two of the players thought these were just mentally gone people that just were evil and need to be killed. Instead, they were just mad from the fleas. So he took this 12-year-old girl, chucked her out a second-story window, and she fell onto, like, the spiked fence outside this manor and just impaled. He comes downstairs and denied he ever did it. But the cleric walks out and sees the corpse impaled on the fence. He's like, I don't know what happened to the girl. She went crazy.
Jeez.
So
Denied he did it. Wow.
Denied he did it, but the
plausible
cleric,
deniability.
yes, but the cleric just gives him that look like he's lying. So we've got some internal strife there because the fighters in the group are just becoming more bloodthirsty from their failed power checks. So yes. Yeah, so lots of whole little subplots going on that can go in many different directions depending on...
Cool. Yeah. What about you, Vince?
Well, I haven't really been playing much games. I've been reading a lot. I did start playing in a 5th edition game this weekend at the local gaming shop with a bunch of old friends, so it went all right. I was playing a Dwarven Paladin, actually. That's lawful neutral, which is kind of weird. Yeah. Playing a Paladin that's not lawful good, but...
Yeah.
The game went pretty well, except for the inter-party fighting.
No, really?
No, there was 2 dudes that were in the party that just kept, I don't know, I guess annoying the crap out of each other to the point that the DM pulled the 2 characters out into a separate thing, and the person who hired us to do the mission said, you 2 will fight to the death, and that's the end, and the winner will continue on, the loser is done.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was really getting bad to the point we were sitting there going, like this the rest of the party, and I finally said, you got 2 DMs here. Can we have one of the DMs take the knuckleheads aside and have their fight and get it over with? And the rest of us can go back to playing. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's a great idea. I'm like, okay. So they resolved that issue, and finally they came back, and I made a suggestion that since the DM brought both characters back in as is after that long fight, to make it so the 2 characters no longer remember the hatred that they had for each other. So after he did that, everything seemed to be fine. The adventure was good. We were doing Underdark, some adventure he made for the Underdark, and we had to go kill some orcs that were looting something in the village, and everything had mushrooms everywhere, much like the adventure we're going to review today.
Oh, cool.
And my character kept eating mushrooms and having these weird effects, and going into dazes and running around in circles and screaming and laughing, things like
Hearing
that.
Inagata Devita in his ears.
Yeah, pretty much. But had a good time, so I was glad that it was like that. Haven't had any time for any other games. Mostly been working and stuff like that, so. But I think we should just head into table manners. We don't have any stars, right, Nick?
No star reviews.
Okay, great. If you do want to email us, rfistaff@gmail.com, and we will read your email, as long as it's relevant to the show, of course. So we'll head into some table manners.
This podcast is brought to you in part by a not very generous grant from Lesser Gnome, publisher of quality role-playing games since last year. Gnomes value high-minded programming, just like you. Learn more at their website at www.lessergnome.com.
Typical. Of all the evil creatures in the world, I'd like to find one with table manners.
What are you kidding me? I spent years cultivating the worst table manners on the planet.
Table manners.
Table manners this week. So the module that we had sent to us, I was sent an email by DM John a while back, and he gave us an OSR compatible module, which basically lands under, it could be used with original, basic, advanced, 2nd edition, anything that falls under the OSR brand, and it's called the Fungus Forest. And it's on RPG Now or Drive Through RPG, and I'll throw the link up there for Matt to put in our show notes. It's a pay what you want module, so you can pay nothing if you want, if you feel that it's not worth anything. But I suggest you highly pay the suggested price of $2.18 at the time of the recording. It is well worth it. 71 pages of this module is.
Yep.
Huge map. The map is so huge it has 4 quadrants. A, B, C, and D. But this is a pay what you want. This is a sprawling 100-plus cave complex suitable for low to mid-level play. You can download it. Obviously, the author says you can download it for free if you'd like, if you don't want to pay anything, or you can come back and donate, whichever. It features unique creatures and magical items, compatible with most of the games, obviously. It has maps, 2-page overview map spread of the caverns, 4-quadrant maps of each section. They were in colors, tiny tunnels, the Dark Fae, printable black and white, single-page version overview map, full color art layout, ready reference appendices so you can go back and find things easily, which we all know is a pain in the butt. Bookmarked and hyperlinked, and it's available in 2 formats, and the print edition will be coming soon. But let's jump right into the Fungus Forest and impressions of it. Matt, what's your impression of the module?
Oh, I really like this. It's not an adventure, it's a campaign setting.
Yeah.
It's the way to look at it.
Yeah, it's a mini campaign, absolutely.
Yeah, think small Underdark is kind of the way to look at it. You have your Dark Fae, your Dark Pixies, a.k.a. you're playing the role of the Drow this week. And it very much is like Section A. As I was going through it, I'm like, almost every room was like a new mushroom that the players can just get themselves in trouble with. And there's lots of that. The environment is very rich and very fungus-based. So be prepared to deal with all the effects of the fungi. So, which also it has that random fungus generator that I love random charts.
Me too.
So when it was like random fungus generator, I'm like, I will steal this in general. Like when the players are out foraging for stuff and they're like, oh, I'm looking for this spell component or whatever. Like, here's your random fungus.
But there's so many mushrooms you can just like eat and die. It shows.
Yes.
I was like, a single saving throw, boom, dead. It's like,
right. Yes, it very much is that you shouldn't eat everything. It's very much old school in that mentality of
and some of the ways you go are rather horrid.
Yes, there's not a quick clean death. It's usually lots of convulsing and shivering or turning inside out
or exploding.
Yes, and there's also lots and lots of looting.
Yes.
You're going to be taking stuff off of the corpses of like everything. There's so many deceased people in this adventure.
Now, tell me you guys did not, as soon as you start reading, just going, what was the guy smoking, and can I have some of it? Because this module was written like a stoner wrote it, man.
Well, it is mushroom-based.
Like that. Oh, yeah.
And you can get your St. Gygax shield in this adventure.
Yes.
Yeah, that's I'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. It's well written. It's well laid out. It's very professional looking, in my opinion. But the only thing that it's just like, what was the guy smoking when he wrote this, man? Nash Press, man. Who's Nash Press? I have to find out.
Yeah, it was very much I have a bunch of cool ideas. Let's throw them all into one thing and kind of connect them together.
And you realize at one point in the module when you get to, I think it's Quadrant B or C, when you go to the Goblin Kingdom, there's a whole bunch of like mini side quests in there that he demands that you do if you want to get through his kingdom, which I thought was really cool too.
Yeah. Right. I thought another good thing is in the different quadrants and all the different factions inside the Fungus Forest dungeon, it's the different factions in one way or another are in conflict with each other.
Yeah.
And he gives enough detail saying, okay, this faction is not as strong as this other one, and this is the reasons why. Gives some real good explanations on that. So, yeah, you could play maybe one faction off another, which is really good writing.
Not sure. How long do you think it would take to run this thing? You're talking maybe like a couple months, maybe, the way this is built?
Gosh. Are you talking like maybe on a weekly or every other week sort of basis?
Say we play like, a session every other week for like 4 or 5 hours. You think this would be a good couple month campaign, maybe?
I could see anywhere between 4 to 6 months. Maybe longer.
And I'm trying to figure. I mean, I read the module, and it's just so much to absorb, and how to get the players hooked. How would you get the players hooked on this one, Nick?
Wow,
because there's so many rumors to throw into there, and how many reasons. It's just like, how would you get the players to want to go into this magical mushroom kingdom here?
Well, the one thing that does help, I'm glad you brought that up, is he has the Fungus Forest rumor chart.
Yes,
which is a good way to for it's not plot hooks in itself, but to generate some interest into the place. Where if they're sitting in a tavern or an inn and they're talking with some people and they hear from the bartender, hey, you never heard about this Fungus Forest? They say the pixies there can assume any form and love to use this ability to sow confusion and dissent, which happens to be a true rumor. But yeah, that's one way to do it. And maybe there's another way you could get around, not just using the rumor chart. Maybe the old sage or wizard's looking for some special magic components, and one of the places he knows he can get them is from the Fungus Forest.
Well, the group that I'm currently in, I could guarantee they would go in based on the fact of there is one mushroom, if eaten, makes you a god. I can guarantee they're all running for that.
Or the one mushrooms where when you clip them with like a silver blade, they become solid silver.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Or you could even do the cliche, little Timmy wandered into the Fungus Forest. You got to go find him.
Stupid Timmy.
Yeah. Or Timmy was abducted by the Fae and taken into the forest. Timmy!
Let's see, they also have some great unique monsters in here, which I think Matt's going to pull one up when we go into our creature feature segment. So we won't spoil that. But what did you think about the maps, Nick?
I really, really like the maps. Done very well. I like how they're color-coded.
Yeah, it makes
it easier you know the different sections of what you're running into inside the Fungus Forest. I like the topography when you're talking about at least the depths of the water is very well defined. And looking at this map, now that I'm thinking about it, you could potentially tie this in with other adventures. For example, Lost Caverns of Zoicanth, there's the one, I think it's in the Lesser Caverns, there is a river that runs through part of it. And there's a section of it where you just don't know where it runs off the map to. You could easily connect that to this area. And it could be, again, make it a larger campaign. Just throwing that out of an idea, if you want to tie it into your current campaign, that's one way to do it. So I like that. It's flexible in that respect.
You know what I thought was my favorite part of this module was kind of creepy in the same sense, those shroomkins, when they kept gathering all the parts of all the people and putting them in various caves neatly.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they took the skulls and they put it neatly in one cave, they put the bones of this or that in that cave. They took the eyes and put it in the mushrooms so they can see around the cave. But there's no explanation of why they do it, and it even says there's no real reason why they do it, and nobody knows why. I just thought that was something creepy to play off on.
And that's some of the best things when you leave things like unexplained and let the player characters kind of let their imaginations run wild and figure out, why did they do this? Well, they might think because they worship this certain god or something. Who knows? But it gets them paranoid.
Definitely. What's your favorite part, Nick?
My favorite part? Oh my goodness.
I know you want to speak about the Gygax shield, so.
Well, I like that stuff up to a point. I thought the whole Gygax thing, that was the one thing I thought was kind of like, took it almost over the top for me.
Okay.
The Saint Gygax and all that. I thought okay, I get it. Fine. Yeah, I love Gary too, but I thought that kind of went a little bit over the top for me.
Okay.
One of the things I liked, if I can at least make reference to this monster, because when you're looking at this adventure, it seems very much on the side of on the sides of the Fey realm.
Right.
But then again, you have one monster that pops up here where it just totally takes it into that, what's the term? Lovecraftian direction.
Yeah.
Shoggoths.
Yeah.
I saw that. I'm like, well, that was unexpected.
Yeah.
I love that. It just, because you're thinking, a very typical fairy realm sort of setting. You don't think of Lovecraftian horrors generally. So I like that little addition of the Shoggoth as a potential wandering monster, I guess.
Well, look at the rest of the module. Were you really that surprised? I mean...
well, yeah, for me it was, because when I'm reading through it, I kind of thought, okay, this is kind of a Fey realm thing, but I guess now that I'm looking at it, like the different types of fairy creatures and like the dark fairies and the Wassermans.
Yeah.
And the darklings, I guess, or no, not darklings, but the drakelings.
Yes.
Or draklings. I guess in that respect there is something kind of twisted about them. So
just double check here. I'm gonna go back to that page. So we have the Goblin Lair, the Dark Fey Wassermans, the Drakelings or Draklings, the Wixies, which are wild pixies.
They're awesome.
Yes.
Then we got the Pixies. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got is it the Wearies? Is that how it's pronounced? Wiries? Wiries? I don't know.
Wearies, I think.
Yeah, and then the Shroomkins. Those are the factions that are all distributed in this big, giant, underground fun park, if we want to call it that.
Yes. This is like Lewis Carroll on acid with Lovecraft thrown in.
Yeah, perfectly well put.
Yes, because you even have the room where you eat this mushroom, you grow. You eat this mushroom, you shrink.
Yep.
Yeah, there's just some rooms that just have mushrooms everywhere, and you're just not sure exactly what to do in there, and some people just may eat it, and he's taken to that. I will say he's taken almost every possibility into account in some of these descriptions.
Yes, he has. It was very well done. There's nothing left for the DM. They have to really figure out so much on their own. There's great stuff right there.
Of course, there's going to be stuff that will happen with your group. You'll be like, but the majority of things, I was reading, I was like, the majority of things, I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I could see my group doing that, or I could see my group doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And he has it there in little blocks telling you what, if the group does this, if the group does that. And that's probably why it's so long. There's just so much to go on in here.
It covers all those different contingencies.
Yeah.
One of the things, another thing I did like was the teleportation rings.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of interesting. Only the what creatures were those? Was it the fix? Whatever. I can't think of the name of the creatures, but only they know exactly how to control it. And when you step into it, you just get randomly teleported to the last place that you remember something going on. I was like,
yeah.
Okay. But if you attack the mushrooms that are surrounding that circle, they're not actually mushrooms. They're little people that will come out and attack you because you attack them.
They're almost myconids.
Yeah.
Yeah, mini myconids.
Yeah.
But I love that because the fairy ring, and I think there is somewhere later on where you actually can learn how to use the teleportation rings. I thought there was a section there where you can learn it from somebody.
Oh, was it? I thought you said that only they truly know. So.
Okay. But the fairy rings, because they're actually like little fairies and they're like grown in there, and I thought was a nice, device, because one of the things when you're talking about like a large dungeon, it always seems to be a tough thing for DMs and even players to figure out. I was like, okay, we got this large hole, now we got all the way go back up. And out of the dungeon, and we got to dump all this stuff off. This is maybe one way you can kind of get around that. Mm-hmm. As far as like dumping off stuff in certain areas. I mean, it's going to be randomly taking you all over the place, but eventually you're going to get to where you want to be. So, right. So I thought that was a pretty cool little. Well, I don't know, just a cool, interesting thing, the teleportation rings.
What's your favorite parts, Matt?
Well, with this, I was horribly, when I was reading, amused by the witch that tries to get you to kiss her.
Oh yeah.
Yes, so she could turn you into a frog. And with this, like every section has its own inner theme. It's like the Wixies that are sitting there as you go from like the fungus showroom of the Shroomkin and you go into their realm. They have their big wall keeping out all these fungus people, and they just sit up top of it taunting you like they're Monty Python.
Yes.
But if you end up doing something they deem brave, they're like, hey, come have a drink with us.
Yeah.
So I found just touches like that amusing because it's stuff you usually don't see in adventures, but at the same time you have seen in like geek media. So there's a lot of those types of references.
That's right. They taunt you if you like back down and go away, they attack you. But if you do something brave and try to attack them, they go, whoa, 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 come on in. You're our friends now. It's like,
yeah, you're talking about the Wixies?
Yeah.
The Wixies I thought were really cool because they reminded me of the brownies from Willow.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. Remember how kind of rough and tumbly the brownies were?
Yeah.
They kind of reminded me of that, and that's how almost I would kind of play them up because I purposely highlighted the section, the Cave of Ritual.
Okay.
I thought was really funny because this just tells you everything about Wixie culture. It says in it here, the young Wixie warriors undergo their initiation into manhood. This entails being hung by the ankles from the cave roof and punched in the face by passers-by, pelted with garbage, or worse, and taunted by Wixie children. This is a rite of passage. So you are actually obligated, when you go by them, to punch them in the face or throw things at them.
Sweet.
And I would play it up like they're not crying or anything. They're just taking it, you know?
And then I could see the Wixies being like, you're now one of us. It's now time for your rite of passage.
Oh, man. I never thought of that. That would be good.
And then if they go through that, then all of a sudden they now have the Wixies on their side as they go into other areas. They have the Wixie friends because they're one of them.
I wonder if you could kind of incorporate that. Like if one faction you win them over, will they help you or they not help you? Because the factions seem to be staying in their own areas and don't move from their areas, except the goblin ones who want to take over the other areas. So.
Right. You're right. Everybody seems to be kind of on the defensive.
Yeah, nobody's attacking.
Necessarily offensive.
Yeah. That could even be the main plot of your campaign is there's someone trying to stir it up and cause all the factions to feud simultaneously.
Oh.
Rebel rouser.
Yeah.
And maybe if stirring up the different factions, it can cause chaos up above. So they want to keep the status quo. And your job is to keep the status quo.
Right.
Oh, one thing I did catch on, another I think it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek inner gamer thing.
What?
Again, with the Wixies. Mm-hmm. What's their most prized metal? Electrum. They love Electrum. And what has Gary Gygax been known to put into his games? A lot of Electrum pieces.
Yeah, that was always his favorite metal.
I think it was.
It was.
So
yeah.
I love the whole thing about they value Electrum pieces, Electrum above almost any other metal. I thought that was pretty cool. I think that might have been a kind of a wink and a nod to that sort of inner gamer culture thing. I'm not sure, but I'm tending to think maybe yes.
Well, yeah, he really wanted that Electrum to get off as the source of everything instead of gold. So
right.
Or you could use them as a great exchange bank. If Electrum's undervalued up above, you go down there to convert it to gold and come back up wealthy.
Oh, so now you're talking about farming now.
Yes. You farm you're farming now.
It's wonderful. Collect all the Electrum you want because we got some suckers underneath that'll love it.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's any ways that we can improve this for listeners, or you think it's good as is?
Gosh, improve it?
Well, I would definitely throw in some trademarked myconids.
Yeah.
Because they belong. They belong in this whole thing. You need the myconids. Yeah, they do. You could even add another whole cave faction if you want of the myconids being all myconid.
You could do that, yeah. And I would also say prepare for your player characters eating mushrooms and what's going to happen afterwards.
Yeah.
Right? Because
there might be a high body count.
There could be a death. There could be strange effects going on according to the chart. Anything. I like that some of the death things, like you die, but your organs all turn to gold. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just trying to imagine like a party, cutting open the person and taking out their gold liver and spleen.
Yeah, really.
Hey.
Oh, Nick's dead.
I wasn't quite done with that.
Isn't dead yet.
I mean, just prepare for any situation. If they're going to eat the fungus, I guess you can't really warn them too much, but
they might pick up. I think some of that is alluded to in some of the rumors, but you got to be lucky enough to get that rumor.
Right.
Yeah, I would just maybe.
I might let like a magic user have some knowledge of some of the funguses, like make it like an intelligence check to see if he recognizes that fungus from like a spell or a book or something. Just to give them he'll be like, oh, wait a minute, I remember this. I don't know exactly what, but I remember this is a bad one or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'm sure there's got to be someone in the party that's going to be into the whole herbalism type thing.
Right. And it could even be a combination of, like, maybe the cleric will recognize one because it's used for like, healing or something.
Right. Now, some of these, though, we got to mention, just because you eat them, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to die. There's actually some ones where they give you some positive things, like, what was it? The fungus of faith, where you eat it, you get a random first level cleric spell when you eat it.
Oh, and the one that you eat a small amount, it gives you a +1 to wisdom after this weird trip.
Yeah.
But if you eat too much and you wind up like vomiting or something,
and then you lose an intelligence.
Yeah.
So
you have to eat just the right amount of shrooms, man.
You got to measure it out.
That's right. Like the sorcerer's shroom, you eat that one and you get a random first level magic user spell when you eat it, dude.
And then also with a lot of these spells, or mushrooms, when you take them, you don't die instantly. That also gives the party a chance to respond, too. Yeah. Because a lot of this is just countered with cure disease.
Or curse. Remove curse.
Or curse, depending on the shroom. So it's not like it's you ate, you failed your save, you're dead. You ate, you failed your save, you're going to die really soon unless you act quick.
Yeah.
What about the situation when the witch turns the people into frogs? I mean,
oh man, yeah.
I know Matt was just talking about that, but so what if you don't have a remove curse? Is that you're dead? Whatever, the character's gone. I mean, is there a way to get out of that?
Well, you can also convince her to remove the curse.
Yeah, big diplomacy going on there.
Right.
Yeah.
Perhaps she has something she wants. Maybe she wants that immortal shroom.
Yeah, the one that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Sure, here it is. Pluck.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, another thing I kind of thought that was like besides the Saint Gygax and the Electrum thing, there was another one. I think it was kind of a wink and a nod to Lord of the Rings. I don't know if any of you guys picked up on this. There's a section where, because I love this, the Grow Shrink Shroom Cave.
Yeah.
There was the tiny dwarf.
Yes.
The 8-foot-tall dead giant halfling. He has a short sword +1 when glows when goblins are within 30 feet and a ring of invisibility.
Yeah.
Who could that be?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Yeah, nobody we know.
Never heard of him.
There was another magical item. The ring that you could speak with the undead.
Yeah,
I found it interesting that you have to hold it in the palm of your hand and then it works as opposed to wearing it on your finger.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was kind of an interesting twist to get it to work. And it said that they talk to you, and it doesn't mean they have to be helpful or not. And unless you're over a specific body, it could be any random spirit or undead in the area.
Right.
That's a potentially really powerful magic item.
And with all the corpses in this, you're going to have a lot of voices.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just think, if you get that magical item, it's powerful, yeah, Nick, but say you activate it, you start talking to some random ghost or whatever, and then, your 5 minutes is up. Who's not to say that ghost starts following you because, hey, I talked to you once.
Right.
Now I can annoy you until you die. Joint one.
Right. Or what if you're going through an area with a lot of corpses and they all decide to start talking to you at once?
Well, I think it's only one per.
Oh. I'm just imagining letting all the voices in at once.
Yeah.
You walk through a graveyard while holding that ring.
Well, yeah, I could. But I did like the fact that you could do it during combat too, and then like the zombie or whatever start talking to you for 5 minutes.
Right. Distract the zombie. Talk to it.
Oh, I thought that was interesting too. That Ring of the Restless Dead, you hold it,
yeah,
to activate. I thought that was a nice little twist.
Because most rings, you just put it on, you twist it or whatever.
Right.
You just lift your hand up and it works with a magical word. This one you have to hold in the palm of your hand and concentrate. So.
I like that, and that one thing it does kind of work around the limit of number of rings that you can quote unquote wear.
Yeah,
I can see you using this one. You put it on a chain around your neck, and then you hold it to use it.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
So, what are our overall ratings of this module? Matt, we'll start with you. Out of what do we use? Swords, right? Yeah, swords.
Yeah, so we are swords, and this is like a 4.5 swords for me. I mean, this is great. One thing that they have a thorough appendix. The only thing that's not listed in the appendix is like some of the special magic items.
Yeah.
As we're talking about it, I'm like, oh, I remember seeing that. Where is it? Oh, there's about 200 rooms I need to go through to figure out exactly where that magic item was.
So you're saying sum it up in the back. Okay.
Right, yes. Just sum up the magic items in the back, too. You summed up everything else. Why not the magic items?
Good
Just
point.
some of these special ones. But yeah, I mean, I think it's great.
Go ahead.
I'm even envisioning just tacking this onto the Caves of Chaos.
Oh, yeah.
This fits perfectly with the Caves of Chaos and how that's divided up into factions and in areas as well. This is just like an extension off one of those dead-end tunnels. Boom.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yep.
I would rate this a perfect 5. If I can do it a 6, I would give it a 6 because it has so many possibilities, so many avenues to travel down, so many campaign sessions you can do on this, and so much crap that can go on at once that you can possibly play this campaign. I'm listing it as a campaign. I don't care, for probably close to 6 months before getting through the entire thing. There's always something to do in here and always something to have fun with, and from a DM point of view, trick your party. So, Nick?
You know what? I probably give this 5 swords. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a simple fact. Yeah, it's a mini campaign. You can easily adapt this to whatever else if you have an existing one. And it's very well laid out. I love the hyperlinks to the different chapters.
Yes. That's
for me. I don't know why that was like a huge seller for me. I loved it. Loved the appendix. Again, like I said, like Matt said, could have had something else about the magic items in the appendix, but that's not like a deal breaker with me. But overall, very well thought out, and the compatibility is really good. Yeah, I would love to use this. I've always, and on a personal, I've always envisioned like some sort of fungus forest sort of. I've always wanted like a big old room or something like that in a dungeon, and this way goes above and beyond my expectations.
So this is like Journey to the Center of the Earth on crack.
Yeah.
Yeah, or magic shrooms, man. Like, whatever, man. Now I'm starting to sound like the dude. It's your opinion, dude.
Head over to DriveThruRPG or RPG Now and pick up The Fungus Forest by Nash Press. Average contribution of $2.18 or $0 if you want.
Oh, but shoot these guys a few bucks. It's worth it.
I suggest downloading it if you just want to check it out, and you will be very surprised and very pleased. And I suggest you go back and then contribute some money to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Lee Reynoldson and Carl Nash are the authors, and the artists are Emma Nash and Carl Nash. So some great artwork in here, too.
Yeah, really well done.
Compatible with everything from basic BECME all the way up to 2nd edition. So any OSR product can work with this.
Yep.
You make it work, we make it work. That's what we say, right, Nick?
Absolutely.
So let's head into some creature feature.
Are you enjoying the show you're listening to right now? Want to help support the show? Why not head over to the Patreon site, patreon.com/WGP. That's patreon.com/WGP, and help support the network for as little as $1.50 a month. That's right, $1.50 a month goes a long way. Thank you.
Are you saying that I put an abnormal brain into a 7.5-foot long gorilla?
Creature Feature Theater.
And now we are heading into the creature feature. And the creature that I've picked is the Spore Man. And this is...
Is that like Spoon Man?
Yes, I keep having the Alice in Chains song in my head. Spore Man. But this, we made reference to the means of death that this Spore Man can cause.
What page is Spore Man on?
Spore Man is on page 65.
Okay. Yep, in the appendix. You can find
in the appendix.
Oh, that's right. They're in the appendix. I keep forgetting
yes. If you had to sort through the entire module or the book to find Spore Man, that would be very sad. So this appendix is a must for this because it's so massive.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Spore Man is a fungal creature that used to actually be a humanoid, but then was infested with the white spore fungus. And the white spore fungus, just to give you a quick little deal on it, because it's required to make these spore men. It's a white fungus that releases a noxious cloud into the air. You fail and you have to make a save. And if you fail it, you feel faint and queasy, then you make save roll number 2.
Yeah.
This is the roll that counts. Well, actually, the first one is the most important one. But number 2 determines whether you start frothing at the mouth, shake, and then spasm until you implode, turning your body inside out. But if you make your save, you live, but you're still frothing and spasming, and then you turn into a Spore Man and proceed to attack your fellow party members. So all Spore Men were nice people at one point.
At one point.
At one point. But they can be fixed. The Spore Men, if you cast Cure Disease on them, they will get better. They'll revert to their original form. So all is not lost if you do become a Spore Man. But I found it just very interesting that this is one of the monsters that when you kill it is when the really bad stuff happens, because that's when they erupt into the cloud of the spores where you all must make your saves. Otherwise, you'll either die or become Spore Men. Yeah. And then also fire, if you decide, we'll just start torching all the fungus and fungus men, it does double damage to them, but they erupt. And then you get your nice little cloud of spores as well. So this is just one of those creatures that it could be... for my adventure, I'm envisioning like, you need to go and find so-and-so. They went into the forest, never came back. Then you find them, but they're a Spore Man, and you can tell by maybe the armor they're wearing or some distinguishing object they still have on them. And then it's your job to figure out, should we just kill him and say he's dead? Should we try to fix him? I mean, it's one of the many little plot hooks you can throw in. And the Spore Man, I mean, as a creature, really isn't all that scary. Damage-wise, it's got his fist. 1d6 damage there. AC of 4 with 5 hit dice, so it's a little tough, but nothing too scary. It's when you kill it, bad things happen to you. So
it's almost like a real tough version of the gas spore.
Yeah. Or it's reminding me of the Draconians from the exploding ones from Dragonlance, where they blow up and you get acid sprayed on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's along those lines, except for some reason the inhaling the spores and turning inside out is a little more creepy than having your face burned off by acid. So, but I think the Spore Man is just like the nice creature it sets the tone for the type of adventure this is. As Nick was saying with the Shoggoth.
Yeah.
You think Fae, you think all mystical fairies and unicorns and forestorically. No, it's a little darker than that.
Mm-hmm.
So, Spore Man. And again, I think I could even see myself stealing Spore Man and sticking in any place that has some sort of fungus, just because it's always kind of fun to have that make your save or implode.
Yeah.
They're very old school. Spore Man. Save me! Yeah, anyway.
Let's head into Sage Advice before Matt breaks out into the full song.
Yes.
Sage Advice.
So Sage Advice, rfistaff@gmail.com is where we will read emails, and we have 2 emails this week. One is an advice from DM Freddy. He's looking to get some advice on the G series. He wants to convert it to run it for Morris' second edition. He doesn't want to use the Silver Anniversary stuff or the Dewey Giants by the book, because they're a little more powerful than what he's looking for. But basically, when he runs his game, it's more of a vanilla 2E, which cuts all the crap out of 2E and just makes it more like 1E, in my opinion. Not that there's anything wrong with 2E, but that's just how I'm looking at it. Am I right, Nick, when I'm thinking that? Or?
Yeah, he's basically running like no splat books, just the core books. Okay,
so he wants to do that, and the 2E Giants are just way overpowered for what he's looking at. And he's just kind of curious what we thought about what we would do with the Giants for 1E, because they're underpowered compared to the 2E base set. So I think we were discussing this before the show, and we decided that the best advice would just add a certain amount of hit points to the Giants, like 20 or something like that, right?
Yeah, that, and also he said, we thought what was his suggestion as far as them giving damage, you add their damage bonus for the appropriate giant type.
Yeah.
So that would be another good way to make them at least a little more lethal, but not so much so.
I think that's probably the best way to handle it, DM Freddy, and hopefully that'll work out for you. Hopefully you've either run that campaign already and already saying, haha, I've done that already, guys, or what. So we appreciate the email. And I think we have one more email, Nick. You were going to take that one on?
Yeah. This was a email that we got in. I don't know who sent it, but it was in regards to the...
Samwise, I think his name was.
I'm sorry, what?
Samwise.
Samwise. Okay. Yeah, this was from Samwise. And this is in regards to the show that we did where we were talking about, basically pay for play.
Yeah.
For like DMs. And he wrote out a rather well thought out email, and I'm going to read it out, and then I'll give my, and if you want your opinions as well on the matter. So he says, I've been working on my way slowly through the archives. It's a really great show. Well, thank you. However, I noticed this topic on the front page today and took a break to listen to the current event. I am a paid DM. I work with several others as part of a business, and we do charge for our services. There are several reasons for this. One, no one is forcing them to play. If they want our services, they don't have to hire us. Well, what if we just want to play your game?
I guess too bad.
I guess too bad. Yeah. Okay. We specialize in working with groups of kids and not full-grown adults and approach our adventures with that in mind. Okay, that's cool. We put in a lot of effort into planning these games. It's noble to have an adventure you spend all prep time or just for enjoyment, and certainly I do it for the games I run for my friends. However, in terms of offering a service that people can hire as they choose, we take time to coordinate and collaborate and really make sure our players have a great time. We've even coordinated original campaigns, creating songs, etc. We're seeking payment so that we can justify spending our time prepping a 4-hour party adventure for kids we're not personally tied to. Well, that's great. That's wonderful. But what does that say for all of us that, put in a lot of time and effort and make it a real fun thing, but we don't charge for it because it's a hobby? Just saying. You could make the other counter argument like any of us. We do put a lot of time and effort into our campaigns, make it enjoyable for anybody regardless of age, and we don't charge. Our payment comes from parents who are happy to see their children entertained at the table for 4 or more hours, being social and actually improving their academic skills. We don't brag, but we do advertise. Okay, well, I could do the same thing and not charge them a nickel.
So to sum up that whole thing, it's basically parents that just want to get rid of their kids for a couple hours. Here's a couple bucks. Keep them happy while we go out and go see a movie or have some parent time. Mm-hmm. That's what they're preying on.
Yeah, so if our customers aren't satisfied, then that's all there is to it. We're a business based on entertainment. If we fail to entertain, it is treated as a serious issue to it. So what? Can they ask for a refund?
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. And they say, finally and foremost, parents are happy to pay for the experiences children have. Kids are happy to participate. Always free to leave. Okay, but then can they get their money back if they're not satisfied? Take pride in the work. We all take pride in our work and everything. That's fine. We love the game, blah, blah, blah. This is one of the sticklers for me right here.
What?
We love this game. In an ideal world, we would run all the games for free, but we are none of us wealthy. Well, neither am I.
None of us are.
In order to dedicate this time needed to make a really good game experience, we seek compensation so that we don't need to look for a second job instead. Well, if you're looking for the compensation for this and you're kind of running this as quote-unquote a business, I have one thing. Are you declaring this on your taxes? This is income.
I'm sure they are. If according to the first couple of sentences, it says as a business, I would think anybody that says as a business would claim it as taxes.
I would hope so.
I'm pretty sure they would. If they're claiming to be a business and they're involved with people and they're advertising, they sure as hell better be.
They better be.
Which I'm pretty sure they are.
Okay. I'm just... I don't know. The whole thing, like professional dungeon masters, is just like taken from the pages of Knights of the Dinner Table. It went from like fiction to reality. I'm like, really?
Again, it goes back to the podcast that I held with the current events when it goes back to these people who know how to play prep games. They prey on the people who don't know how to play and say, no problem. I can show you how to play. You'll have a great time, but you got to give me a couple bucks. I need something in return. Get lost.
Yeah, they're just playing on the ignorance of the parents.
It's not ignorant. It's just people that don't know how to play and they really want to play and they probably can't find a group, or these kids that want to play, their parents don't trust them. But it's a business with a lot of kids together, and it's a business. Okay, that means it's fine. We'll give them $10 whatever for the day or whatever. Which I don't know how much charging, he didn't say, but I'm sure it's probably a pretty penny if it's 4 hours to get rid of a bunch of kids. So.
Yeah, I'd be kind of interested in seeing if they have a website or, what are their services that they provide.
Well, I'm sure once he hears it, he'll let us know.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, because there's just something about it when you first hear it. For me, I just have that innate emotional response of like, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And I understand his points, and you could even look at it instead of he's providing the Dungeon Master services. If you think he's providing 4 hours of babysitting, you get compensated for that.
Okay.
And he just happens to be running games. If he portrayed it as that, I'm trying to figure out why that doesn't bother me as much as him paying to have people run his games.
Because babysitting isn't necessarily a hobby.
Well, no, it's a professional business for quite a few people. So
right. That's why we have what we call daycares.
Yeah,
we provide babysitting services for the most part. Right. While being a dungeon master for a game, I don't know if that's a recognized profession in the United States.
Well, well, anything you get paid money for can be a profession.
Right.
So, but I have the same emotional response you do. I'm just trying to intellectually decipher why, if it was just the same thing was pitched slightly different, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. You know what, though? It's like it's getting to that point where you had console gamers, and now they're having like professional tournaments for them that are going. Is this somewhat a kind of a part of that's kind of seeping into the pencil and paper RPG community? You think is this maybe a result of that?
Well, the thing with professional gaming is it can make for a good spectator sport. An RPG session isn't a good spectator. It's not a good spectator sport, just live with commentary or live with the players playing. It has to be.
Did you see that? Could you see that, guys? Oh my God, Nick just rolled his dice. He rolled a 1. Oh my God, Nick's character may die. Well, Vince, Nick should have used the technique of rolling the dice to the left side of the table. If he's taken the time before the game, can you imagine that?
Oh my God. And
Play
someone
by
who
play.
has like, I'm watching on the TV where they have the little glow pen and they're circling. Well, if he would have rolled his dice over here and, sounding like, from Madden.
Well, instead of sweeping towards the head, if he took out his leg, he would have still been able to get the information from the hobo that he needed to save the princess. But instead, he killed
Brett
him.
Favre.
They did it in Magic the Gathering on ESPN, so I don't see why they couldn't do it for D&D.
Yeah,
But
that's true. That's right. They had Magic the Gathering tournaments on ESPN. I almost forgot about that.
Oh, on Twitch, they have them every weekend. The Pro Tours of Magic tournaments, you can make
But that's
thousands
Twitch.
of those.
That's Twitch. It's
Right.
It's not regular TV like ESPN, so.
Right.
Right.
Then again, for some people, Twitch probably is regular TV.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't have cable, so I will watch Twitch. But they have commentators, they have the crawlers on the screen, they have the graphics. It's covered like a competitive event.
Ooh, that was a good move by DM Nick. You see that? How he twisted that wish around and made poor Johnny.
He did a fantastic job there. I'm going to use that one.
Johnny's character, man, his guts just split that. Oh, he should have if he just added that one word in, man.
Yep. Is he going to say it? He needs to add the word "and." If he says "and," he's good. If he doesn't, he's doomed. What will he do? And
like every sport, you're going to have names for like maneuvers and things named after certain things. Oh, there he goes. He's going to do the Gygax maneuver right there. It's going to cause a total TPK. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I could actually see tournament modules ran that way. Just imagine someone doing color commentary for a group going through the Tomb of Horrors.
Oh, jeez.
Where everyone at home knows what the module is, but the players don't necessarily do.
Yeah.
And that would add to it. So you the person at home has more knowledge than the players of what's going on. Then you have the camera shot behind the DM screen. Look at his notes.
Oh, did you just notice that? What, Bob? I just noticed that Nick actually didn't roll any dice.
What?
No.
He's employing.
Were we playing Amber Diceless?
No, he's employing the Gygaxian lie method behind the screen.
No way.
Did you just see that? Nick just rolled dice randomly, but just smiled at the players, making them think it meant something. I remember when Gygax. Come on.
Or you have your controversy when you have that player that sneaks a loaded die to the table.
Oh yeah.
Yes, there you go.
Then they get the slow motion replay of the die. You can see right there that backspin. That backspin is defying the laws of normal physics. That is a loaded die.
Okay. So after that,
so basically, yeah, it's bordering on ridiculous, essentially.
I know there's when that show came out, a lot of people were like, "Well, if you don't want to play in it, don't play in it. Don't pay them. I don't have no problem with someone trying."
Yeah, but you know what? There's nothing noble or ideal about what they're doing versus someone who's doing it for free.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, don't kid yourself. You're like you said, Vince. You're basically providing a babysitting service with a DM.
Well, Matt actually said that, but okay.
I'm saying it.
Okay.
I'm saying it too.
Okay,
so whoever.
Okay. Anyway, so that's going to wrap up the show for this week. Hopefully, we'll be back in a couple weeks with another show and something else. If you have any suggestions for us to review anything, rfistaff@gmail.com, we'll be happy to review OSR-compatible modules for first edition, whatever. We enjoy these things. It's fun just to see what's going on. And head over and get the module today and throw them a few bucks, and hopefully we'll boost some sales for those people and make them happy.
Well worth the download.
Oh, yeah. So I guess keep it original, keep it old school, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Initiative Podcast is a production of Wild Games Productions in association with D20Radio.com. You can visit us at rfipodcast.com or contact us on our forums at osrgaming.org or even by calling us at 570-865-4210. This podcast is produced for entertainment purposes only. All other uses are prohibited. And remember, if your magic missile spell doesn't automatically hit, you're playing the wrong edition. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Roll for Initiative.